What's up, guys? This is Endgamer, and today we're talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. Which, can I just say, this is crazy that we're getting two parts to this movie. The original Spider-Verse movie was just amazing. Probably in the top 3 of my favorite Spider-Man movies. It was just so unbelievably good. But let's get on to the topic of this video, where we're going to be talking about the spider people that could be appearing in this new movie. Because obviously, it's bigger. It's going to be bigger.
You're a bit late.
It can't all be.
So there will be more spider people. Now, obviously, we know about some characters like Miles, Gwen, Peter Parker, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker, and as shown Spider-Man 2099. All of these characters, were in the last movie, or like I mentioned, shown in the trailer. So it's pretty safe to say that they're going to be in this movie. Now, looking at the cast, we don't really have a lot to go off of besides two new names, Azia Ray and Takayu Yamashiro, which on the cast list it says they're playing Spider-Woman and Spider-Man Japan, which could be two very cool characters to see on screen.
Oh yeah,
With
I got Spider-Woman
too.
Never
There's
being a little
that
shed
really
where I keep
big
my spider
for
gear.
movies and 70s, only lasting one season. And the same thing with Spider-Man Japan, having a live-action show that lasted only one season, being just absolutely crazy, with him having a Power Ranger style mech. Like, why does a Spider-Man need that? He's just a crazy character. The next character that we could see is Spider-Man India, or Pavar Paharkar from Earth 5101. In the trailer, we can see Hindi letters throughout when he travels through this world. We can see when Miguel and Miles are fighting that they fall past a sign saying Manhattan, which is a cross between Mumbai and Manhattan, where we can assume Pavar lives, which means it's a pretty safe bet to assume that Spider-Man India is in this movie. Other than that, we don't really know about any other spider people that could appear in this movie. The rest of these are pretty much assumptions, just going off of some of the more popular spider people that have appeared throughout the years. But let's start off with talking with the three biggest Spider-Men, that being the live-action ones, Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. Now, I'm just talking about these three to get them out of the way. I don't think any of them will have a role in this movie. I think it's awesome. But I think for now, Marvel wants to keep the live-action universe and animated characters in their own universe. So, I don't think the three of them will actually make an appearance in this movie. If anything, it would be a cameo or something like that. But now, let's talk about some likely candidates that could appear in this movie, starting with the Scarlet Spider. Whether it's Ben Reilly or Kane Parker, or both of them. They're both clones of Peter Parker, Kane being a failed version, who looks like he has his face burned off. They're both really popular characters in the universe, Kane also having Wolverine-type claws, and Ben Reilly kind of being a normal, or a more normal version of Spider-Man. With the popularity of these two versions of Spider-Man, I could definitely see one of them, if not both of them, make it into the next movie. The next Spider-Man I could see being in this movie is the Superior Spider-Man, the version of Spider-Man when Doc Ock switches brains with Peter Parker before he dies. While Doc Ock is in Peter, he sees the true meaning of great power comes great responsibility, so he tries to be the best Spider-Man that he can become, where it seems like Doc Ock was actually a pretty good version of Spider-Man, which is weird because he's been trying to kill Spider-Man this whole time. But anyways, the next Spider person I'm going to talk about is Silk or Sydney Moon. After her growing popularity recently, it would just make a lot of sense for her to appear in this movie. You know, after being bit by the same spider who bit Peter Parker, she was locked in a bunker for 10 years because she didn't know how to control her powers. After those 10 years, Spider Man found her, got her out of the bunker, and that's pretty much it. I think it's really cool of her to be able to shoot webbing through her hands, or not through her hands, through her fingertips, which is really weird. They could even make jokes about that in the movie, kind of like how in spoilers for No Way Home, kind of like how in No Way Home when Toby shot off his webbing for the first time, and Tom and Andrew were very confused about it. But the next Spider Man I'll talk about is a pretty interesting one. Imagine a Spider Man as strong as Superman or Sentry is the Unipower Spider Man. While in a lab, one of the machines exploded, releasing an unknown energy going in to the Peter Parker of that Earth, Earth 91110. This is a pretty interesting version of Spider Man, not really relying on web slinging and stuff, because in this version he can fly, punches the Hulk into space, which is a pretty amazing feat. He is a really strong version of Spider Man, and it would be interesting to see the people who are making this movie play around with such a strong version of Spider Man. The next Spider Man that I'm going to talk about is the zombie Spider Man. Now, this is just a personal preference of mine. It most likely won't happen. If it does, that would be pretty cool. If it doesn't, it makes sense why he doesn't. But the zombie Spider Man is obviously from the zombie universe of the Marvel characters. In this universe, Peter turns into a zombie and he ate Aunt May and MJ, which is kind of messed up. Something that's also really weird about him is he doesn't actually use motion. He uses his veins to swing around, which is kind of disgusting. So I don't think we will be seeing that version of Spider-Man. If anything, it'd be a cameo, but I think he'd be a pretty cool addition to see. The next one is Spider-Punk, or Hobart Brown. He was an angry teenager living in New York during the presidential term of Ozzy Osbourne. You know, it just kind of works for that universe, seeing how Spider-Man is like a punk rock kind of character, or Spider-Punk is a punk rock kind of character, which is really weird. I kind of just imagine at his inauguration, they're just kind of playing Crazy Train in the background, which is pretty funny. Um, he was bitten by an irradiated spider that was made from chemical dumping, and then he became Spider Man. The next and final character I'm going to talk about is Aaron Davis as Spider Man. Yeah, Miles' uncle becoming Spider Man. After Miles gets stranded in a different universe, Aaron Davis buys an Iron Spider suit off the black market, which how many Iron Spider suits are just available to buy off of the black market in this universe? Assuming a lot, if you can just afford one like that. But, anyways, having the Iron Spider suit, he actually forms the Sinister Six, but Miles is able to beat them. After that, Aaron gives up the suit and sells it to Iron Man. Even though it was a brief time as Spider Man, I think it'd be great to see Miles reconnect with his uncle, even if it's even if he's technically a bad guy. I think he'd want to work with Miles because of the bond that they have. It'd also be like when Peter reconnects with Uncle Ben and all those multiverses that he's alive in. And it'd be great for Miles to get closure from I guess, a different version of his uncle, of Aaron Davis. I think it'd be great for Miles to get closure from, even if it is a multiverse version of his uncle. I think it'd be great to see them reconnect. Maybe he can even come from a universe where his Miles dies. Who knows? But those were just some of my ideas for characters that we could see in this movie. Again, I'm really excited for this movie, and I'm sure the people who are watching this, I'm sure you guys are. Let me know what you guys think of my picks for this. Do you guys want a part two? Um, what spider people do you want to see make an appearance? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.